Hello and welcome to today's Office Hours presentation. This is your host, Paul Hoyt. Our Office Hours presentation is a relaxed, informal mentoring program that we do almost every Monday at noon Pacific time. All the recordings, slides, and exercises are archived in our members area, and all the recordings are available on my YouTube channel at youtube.com/user/Paul Hoyt, at least for now. The reasons we do the Office Hours presentations is that we know that being a successful business owner can be a great experience, but we know that it's tough. You need education, training, tools, and team in order to be successful. And we want you to get to know us, because when you get to know us, you'll know that first and most importantly, we care about you. We want you to be successful in every area of your life, whatever that means to you. We want you to find the greatness, the happiness, the divinity within yourself, and then remember it, embrace it, and live it every single day. Our passion is to increase the survival rate, accelerate the growth rate, and reduce the struggle rate of businesses in America. And our vision is to help millions of CEOs and entrepreneurs accelerate their business growth and enjoy greater harmony and balance in their lives. If you find these Office Hours presentations beneficial to you, please pass the word. Everybody knows other business owners or people who want to be business owners, or people who are just interested, in business itself. Please pass the word that we have these Office Hours presentations, that so much information is available on the internet for free for people who are interested in gaining in education and training. Our Office Hours agendas are usually an in-depth discussion of a business success principle, followed by some closing remarks, special offers, and invitations for the next week's session. Then we go into open Q&A and coaching. And we've started a practice in the last couple of months that the best question or comment wins a prize. So as you listen to today's presentation, be thinking about the questions that you might want to ask and the discussion topics that you might want us to enter into. And at the end of today's presentation, you'll have an opportunity to do that when we go into the group coaching portion of the presentation. We invite you to join us in the Awakened CEO communities on both LinkedIn and Facebook, where we publish a business success principle of the day about 4 days a week on both Facebook and LinkedIn. And I do an energy of the day posting every morning on Facebook. First thing when I get up, I try to say something insightful or inspirational around a word that I have chosen. Today was day 1026 in a row where I've established that habit. Today's topic is on your growth mindset, the psychology of success. We'll talk more about where I get that in a minute, but first we always try to relate the subject matter of the day to one or more of the key performance areas of success. And today it's all about leadership. It's about leadership of your company, and it's about personal leadership too, about you accepting responsibility, 100% responsibility for your life, for the person that you are and for the person that you are becoming. And a growth mindset is essential to accepting that. In the Awakened CEO system, we talk about various levels of performance. Your mindset, your methods, and your momentum as being critical competencies for everybody who's in business. We also talk about the three primary focus areas of business growth, personal growth, and professional growth, and how these all are integrated and interact into the Awakened CEO system. The Awakened CEO system is fundamentally says that you need to be good at all 9 of these areas at the intersection in between the 3 levels of performance and the 3 areas of growth. And today's presentation is all about mindset. Mindset for business growth, mindset for professional growth, mindset for personal growth. We're not going to talk a lot about methods and momentum, but we're going to focus today's conversation on the value of having a really fantastic mindset. Today's presentation is based on the book Mindset by Carol Dweck. So we're going to talk about the author a little bit. We'll talk about the 2 mindsets that she introduces in the book. We'll talk about examples of each one of those mindsets, and then we'll sum it all up to the bottom line. And by the way, I think this book is mistitled. I don't think the title of the book should be Your Mindset. I think the title of the book should be Your Growth Mindset, because that's what the book is really about. It's about the importance and the value in having a growth mindset. Anyway, Carol Dweck, PhD, got her PhD from Yale. She is taught at Columbia, Harvard, and the University of Illinois, and she's currently a professor of psychology at Stanford. And she published this book in 2006 after literally a lifetime of research on the subject of what really makes for an effective mindset in business and in personal life. And she introduces the concept of the two mindsets, the fixed mindset and the growth mindset. And in the next few minutes, we're going to talk about those and compare them in detail, because it's really important for you to know those, what the value of each one of it is, what the symptoms of each one of them are, and what especially the value of the growth mindset. So with the two mindsets, here's some quotes from the book that I think really kind of sum it up at a high level. In a fixed mindset, people believe their basic abilities, their intelligence, their talents are just fixed traits. They have a certain amount and that's that, and then their goal becomes to look smart all the time and never look dumb. In a growth mindset, people understand that their talents and their abilities can be developed through effort, good teaching, and persistence. They don't necessarily think everyone's the same or anyone can be Einstein, but they believe that everyone can get smarter if they work at it. And by the way, recent studies have shown that you can increase your intelligence. We've known for a long time that a baby's intelligence is dramatically impacted by the stimulation that they have when they're an infant, and especially by the times that you read to them and the times that you talk to them, that verbal interaction and that interaction between them and the world and letting them see amazing and fascinating things stimulates brain growth, which raises intelligence. Lately, in the last few years, there's been a lot of studies about things that we can do to train our brain and actually increase in intelligence even when we're 50, 60, 70 years old. And we can do that too, as long as we have a growth mindset. Here's some comparisons in between the fixed mindset and the growth mindset. First, with the fixed mindset, we believe that the ability is static, that we are born with natural talents and natural abilities, and while we can do just a little bit to hone them and improve them, that maybe 80 or 90% of who we are is determined at birth. That ability is static, and there's very little we can do to develop it and make dramatic increases one way or the other. With a growth mindset, the belief is that the ability is developed, that while we were born with some particular gifts, some talents and abilities, that most of who we are and most of who we will become depends on our focus and on our effort in growing and learning and transforming ourselves and building ourselves over time. As a consequence of this belief, people with a fixed mindset oftentimes avoid challenges. They relish the opportunity to show how really good they are, but they resist the opportunity to stretch. And they certainly don't want to ever take the chance at appearing foolish or appearing like they didn't really know what was going on or they didn't really have the talent. So they have a tendency not to enter contests that they can't win. They have a tendency not to go out for something or try out for something until they feel like they really have a great chance at winning it, because they don't want to take very many risks. In contrast, people who have a growth mindset embrace challenges because they see each challenge as a growing opportunity, as an opportunity to improve and to increase their skills and ability. A person with a fixed mindset might give up easily. In fact, they run away. Once they get into something and it starts to be hard and they start to feel like that I'm at risk here, their ego is at risk. Their sense of self-esteem is at risk. And so they give up easily. People with a growth mindset don't give up easily. They persist through the obstacles because they believe in their ability to transform. They believe in their ability to learn and grow and overcome. People with a fixed mindset see effort as fruitless because they believe, of course, that 90% of who we are was determined at birth, that it was a gift, from above or just by the universe and by random. And really effort, we might use a little effort to polish the apple, but that's about it. massive effort is never really necessary, because if you're really, really good and you're really, really talented, effort isn't necessary. It's just our natural ability will shine through. With a growth mindset, it's the opposite. They see effort as necessary. The way that we learn and grow is through massive effort, is through focused intention and attention on a particular subject. With a fixed mindset, they typically ignore criticism as being stuff, these people really don't know, they really don't understand, I am who I am, I really can't get any better than what I am today, so your criticism really doesn't matter to me at all. With a growth mindset, we learn from criticism. We welcome criticism, not the kind that says, really wants to put us down or is personally attacking us, but more the positive criticism, the positive suggestions about how we might improve. And finally, with a fixed mindset, people who have that are oftentimes threatened by others. We don't want to be in the presence of others who are equally talented as we are, because it threatens our own ego and our sense of identity. We would much rather be a big frog in a small pond than to be a smaller frog or a medium-sized frog in a very big pond. On the other hand, the people with the growth mindset, they're inspired by others' success. When they see another person being successful, instead of thinking that person was born with a lot of talents and abilities, they think, wow, they have learned to be fantastic through their efforts, and I can too. And that's a huge difference in between the two. Here's some more explanation of the difference between a fixed mindset and a growth mindset. First of all, on self-esteem. With fixed mindset, it is, I am great because of my abilities, and in parentheses, that I was born with. With a growth mindset, it's, I am great because of my ability to learn, grow, and improve. It's my ability to transform over time. It's I take great pride in the person that I have become today and the abilities that I have accomplished today or built today because of the effort that I put into building them. What they tell themselves, the person with a fixed mindset says, my reputation is at stake every time there is a test. I have to look good and I have to be right, because mistakes are a sign of weakness. And, oh, by the way, I'm not going to try anything unless I'm pretty darn sure that I'm going to win it. With a growth mindset, it's much different. With a growth mindset, we see tests as an opportunity to measure progress and an opportunity to discover gaps so that I can work in order to close them. We relish the opportunity to find ways in which we can improve. And oh, by the way, we want your help and your suggestions on improving, but we relish the opportunity to test ourselves so that we can measure our progress, discover our gaps, and therefore have the opportunity to become even better and better and better over time. When things don't go well, a person with a fixed mindset feels like an utter failure. They may give up easily. And oftentimes, instead of taking responsibility, they blame the system, or they blame the test. Or, that just wasn't fair. That question didn't make any sense to me. This just wasn't fair and honest. You put me in a room with people who had a lot more than experience than me. It just wasn't a fair whatever. People with a fixed mindset rarely take 100% responsibility for everything that's going on in their life, because they don't see their own abilities as something that they have earned or something that they really can take responsibility for, because it was a gift. It was a gift from above. It was a gift from their parents, from their genetic code in some way. When people with a growth mindset experience difficulties, when things don't go well for them, they don't give up easily. They don't feel like a failure if things haven't gone particularly well. They say to themselves, I need to work harder. And they ask the question, how can I fix this? They still believe in themselves when things don't go well, and that is a huge difference. When it comes to self-awareness, people with a fixed mindset see things in black and white a tremendous amount. They see things in good and bad, and I can or I can't, etc. The feedback is really not processed very well because of that black and white mindset that they have. That good and bad, it either is or it isn't. They don't see things in shades of gray and gradations. However, people with a growth mindset, they really seek accurate information about their current abilities. They are more objective. They are more realistic. They have a tendency to see things in not just either 100% or zero, but they see things in terms of 60% or 70% or 80% or 30%. And they look forward to finding ways that they can continually to improve their own capabilities. So here's some examples. First of all, from the world of sports. Michael Jordan. I know almost everybody's heard the story about how Michael Jordan was cut from his basketball team when he was early in high school and went home, shut the door to his room, and just bawled his eyes out. What we don't hear after that is after he had bawled his eyes out, he worked his ass off. So he worked in high school to make the team. He worked in college beyond the times that other people have worked. He worked in the pros beyond the time that other people had worked. He practiced his shooting. He practiced his physical abilities. He practiced every aspect of his game until he became one of the world's best, if not the best, basketball player of all time. When we hear about Babe Ruth, you think about a fat, pudgy old guy who just happened to have a home run swing. Well, Babe Ruth was also a pitcher. He was also an outfielder. And as it turns out, when you look at the history of Babe Ruth and look at the biographies of him, after the end of the season, he spent a lot of the winter, a lot of the off season working out to get better. He relished his pudgy old man reputation, but under the covers, he was really quite a strong athlete who was working hard on himself because he had a growth mindset. Wilma Rudolph, one of the great stories of all time, born with polio. They didn't even know if this gal was going to walk. She had braces on her legs until she was like 6 or 8 years old and was finally able to take the braces off, but she didn't stop there. She had a growth mindset, and she kept working on her physical abilities and working on her physical abilities until in the Olympics she won 3 gold medals and was heralded at that point in time as being the fastest woman alive. She had a growth mindset. Mia Hamm had a wonderful growth mindset. Mia Hamm, for those of you who don't recognize the name, was a fantastic player on the United States soccer teams, what we call soccer, other people call football. And I remember in the book they talk about somebody who interviewed Mia Hamm, and they asked her, "Are you the greatest soccer player that there is today?" And she said, her response, I'm paraphrasing now, is, "No, I don't think that I am the greatest soccer player that there is today. And because of that, I continue to work on myself. And because of that, I just might be." And here's a shout out to every 4th round, 5th round, 6th round, 7th round draft pick that made the team. You don't make the team when you're a 4th or 5th or a 7th round draft pick without working extremely hard to find a place on the team. It's always those hard workers, those people who show up every day, those people who relish the opportunity to be on the special teams in football, who really work hard to improve their skills, are grateful for the chance, and they know that they have to work hard to make the team, and they certainly have to work hard to become the first backup, and they have to work hard to be in the starting lineup. Hats off to Trevor Siemian, new quarterback for the Denver Broncos. Hats off to Garoppolo, I think his name is, new quarterback or replacement substitute quarterback for the New England Patriots, who won a game last night. Hats off to every 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th round draft pick who made the team and eventually perhaps even became a superstar. These are really positive examples from the world of sports, but I can think of one really terrible negative example of a person who had a fixed mindset, who really didn't get it and has apparently blown their entire career, and that's Johnny Manziel. Johnny Manziel won the Heisman Trophy as a freshman at Texas A&M. He came back the next year and played in his sophomore year. Then he was drafted. He declared his eligibility for the pros. He was drafted by the Cleveland Browns and was an absolute bust. The reason why he was an absolute bust, the reason he remains an absolute bust, is because he has a fixed mindset. It's an I am great. I don't really have to work. I don't have to pay attention to my coaches. I am fantastic. I've got all this natural ability. And in truth, he may never make it as a pro. God bless him. I hope that he does. Hope he gets his act together, that he cures his problems that he has with substance abuse, and that we are able to see what a person can do who has such incredible natural ability, but adapts a growth mindset and begins to hone and develop that ability over time. We also see examples of a growth mindset in business. Jack Welch, who was the really famous CEO of General Electric, when he did his interview, and General Electric periodically runs through their CEOs, and that is, by the way, widely regarded as being the company in the world today that does the very best to cultivate executives and cultivate leaders and cultivate great managers. Well, when he was being interviewed for his term to be the CEO of General Electric, the reason he got the job is because he said, I will be great at this job because of my ability to learn and grow. I'll be great at this job because of my ability to surround myself with other people who really know what they're doing. I surround myself with geniuses. I focus on learning and growing at every opportunity, and that's why I'm going to be great at CEO of General Electric. And he got the job. Lou Gerstner was really famous in turning around companies when he was given the job or accepted kind of the draft to be the chairman, the CEO of IBM. He had already turned around a couple of other companies, and I don't remember the names. I think one of them was in the automotive industry. Another one was in food products, I believe. He was a master turnaround expert. But the reason he was a turnaround expert was because he had a growth mindset. When he came into IBM, he did not say, boys, I know what we need to do, and this is the way we're going to do it. He said, men, I don't know this company. Men and women, please let me know what your ideas. I am listening to you. I believe that you have the answers. My job is to get the answers from you and then facilitate the group discussion so that our group and our team can come together and I really identify our opportunities for growth, and then I'll make the decision as to which direction we go. It is his growth mindset that made him such a tremendous turnaround expert. Steve Jobs did not have a growth mindset for a long time. He had a fixed mindset. He was not held in wide esteem by the people he worked with until he was fired. When he was fired from his being CEO of Apple, he went on to form Next Computers, then to form Pixar, and finally came back to Apple. At that time, had a much more positive mindset and a much more of a growth mindset, which means, by the way, as you'll find out in a minute, a growth mindset can be learned. We can turn ourselves around, just like we hope Johnny Manziel turns himself around. Steve Jobs did turn himself around, and you can turn yourself around, and we can help other people turn themselves around too, but more about that in just a minute. Walt Disney had a tremendous growth mindset. When you study Walt Disney, you see that he was rejected time and time and time again, that people never believed that his little cartoons would go anywhere, but he believed in himself. He believed in growing the company. He believed in surrounding himself with other great people, and he built the empire known as Disney Entertainment. So here's a comparison, again, in the world of business, in between the fixed mindset and the growth mindset. In the world of business, we find that people who have a fixed mindset have a tendency to build weak teams because they don't want to be shown up, because they want to be the person who demonstrates their incredible ability by being the biggest frog in the pond. They just don't want to have their competency threatened in any way. And oh, by the way, anyone who has a great idea threatens their competencies because they believe that they're supposed to have all the great ideas. With a growth mindset, people who have that have a tendency to build very strong and diverse teams because they know, as I figured out some time ago, God doesn't give all the great ideas to just one person. You never know where that next great idea is going to come from. It could come from a child in your living room. It could come from your brother or sister or your mother or father or the janitor or the person or the executive vice president. Listen for those ideas wherever they come through. come from, because you never know who's going to have that next great idea. People with a fixed mindset have a tendency to blame others in business. That's not my fault. I did everything that I could do. I did everything that my talent allowed me to do. If it didn't work out, it's somebody else's fault. It's the competition's fault. It's, the person who worked for me fault. I'm going to fire them. It's somebody else's fault, but they don't take responsibility for things at all because they don't want to admit a weakness. On the other hand, people who have a growth mindset take 100% responsibility for what happens in the business. And for those of you who've seen my Awaken CEO Foundations program, where we talk about the 39 success principles that are really essential in business, you'll know that success principle number 1 is to take a 100% responsibility for everything that happens in your business. People who have a fixed mindset rarely are questioned because they surround themselves with people who don't dare question them. People with a growth mindset welcome candid discussion and dissenting opinions about what can be and should be and about what is, because they know that's the way that they learn and grow. They know that not all good ideas come from them, and they know that not all good perspectives come from them. People in business with a fixed mindset, they want to be seen as the boss. With a growth mindset, they want to be seen as a leader, and they are seen as being leaders. With a fixed mindset, you'll find that they are really not worthy of trust. Why? Because they blame others, because they don't want to have questions, because they want to be the big boss. And when you have somebody in your life like that, you don't trust them because you see evidence time after time about where they fire other people, blame other people unjustly, and they really don't see the world in the way that most of us see the world. In comparison, people with a growth mindset are trusted and respected because of their ability to take responsibility, because of their ability and their eagerness to hear dissenting opinions and get ideas from others. And lastly, people with a fixed mindset typically have low ceilings. They typically don't get to the top of a business unless they start that business. That's the way Steve Jobs got to be the start of Apple in the first darn place, even though he had a fixed mindset, is because he started the business and he was so talented that he's able to run it for quite a long time. But for you and me, if we're not starting that $100 million company, then we absolutely have to have a growth mindset in order to unleash our unlimited potential. When it comes to getting to the top, this is some quotes from the book. The top is where fixed mindset people long to be, but it's where many growth-minded people arrive as a byproduct of their enthusiasm for what they do. People with an incredible growth mindset who just want to get along with everybody, who really appreciate and respect the talents and abilities of everybody, that take responsibility for everything that happens, that don't blame other people, that can be trusted, have a tendency to be elevated naturally. When somebody comes along and says, who do you think should be promoted? Who do you think the next great leader should be? People point and say, it's him, it's her. We love working with this person. We trust this person. We believe in this person. Let them take the next level in their career because of who they are, not because of their skills and abilities that they have today, because of the person that they have become. And on a related note, the ability to execute dramatically depends on your ability to adapt, improvise, and overcome. For those of you who've listened to my program on the 5 choices of winning CEOs, you know that choice number 5 is about the importance of execution and about your ability to adapt, improvise, and overcome. Well, a lot of what has to be overcome is a lack of experience and education and training on how to manage tough situations. And in order to get that experience, in order to overcome those obstacles and defeat those challenges, it really does require a growth mindset. Another word for that is the word resourcefulness. I remember taking a class at Stanford University from a lady who manages a venture capital fund and manages one of the oldest and most successful angel groups here in Silicon Valley. She said the number 1 trait that she looks for when it comes to CEOs that she's willing to bet on, and by bet on, I mean like writing great big checks for, is resourcefulness. And in fact, in the interviews that she has with CEOs, she tries to ask a lot of questions about when have you overcome an obstacle? When have you demonstrated resourcefulness in your life? What have you done in this business? What obstacles and challenges have you overcome in this business? Trying to judge for herself the resourcefulness that that person might have, which is another way of saying a growth mindset that that person might have. Here's some big challenges when it comes to having a growth mindset. Early success and prodigious gifts. If you know a young person who is extremely talented, at early in life and has those prodigious gifts. I've known people that sat down at a piano at the age of 5 and just started playing. I've known people who had eidetic imagery, which means they remembered everything that they'd ever heard, read, or seen. When they have those prodigious gifts, that can be a big challenge because the tendency is naturally to say, well, I was born with this gift and I don't really have to try very hard to excel. And they see themselves as having a fixed mindset, and that which turns out to become the curse of unlimited potential. People who have unlimited potential are typically just these people. They don't have to try very hard to excel. They have prodigious gifts. They're known as child prodigies. They have great early success. We see them as having unlimited potential. They may see themselves, unfortunately, as just already being great, so why do I have to try, and why do I have to get any better, and why do I have to listen to my coaches, and why do I have to listen to my advisors, because I am who I am. They relish being a big frog in a little pond. And so you may see some people, typically those that are born in small towns, maybe they were a quarterback on the high school football team, but hey, there were only 200 people that went to the high school and they competed at, Division 1A, instead of AAA or quadruple A or quintuple A. Those can be big challenges. You really have to watch out for people in your life who have this unlimited potential and these gifts and try to help them through the challenge of embracing a fixed mindset instead of a growth mindset. But here's the really, really good news that we hinted at earlier. Really good news is that a growth mindset can be learned. It is a skill that can be developed over time. It is not a fixed trait. There have been many, many studies in the book, Mindset by Carol Dweck, that she refers to about how we can induce a fixed mindset or induce a growth mindset. You can induce either one of them when somebody does well. For somebody who has, if you want to induce a fixed mindset, you tell that person that, wow, you must be really talented or smart. You really did really great on that test. What a smart person you are. Now, by the way, that seems like a natural thing to tell somebody, but when we tell them that, we are inducing a fixed mindset. If we want to induce a growth mindset, we tell them that, wow, you must have worked really hard in studying for this. We're proud of the abilities that you have developed over time, and I'm really eager to see what you can accomplish with more hard work. You see the difference in between that? One of them is saying, you are great because of who you are, and with the implication and who you've always been. The other one says, you are great because of the hard work that you have put in, and we can't wait to see what you become when you work harder. Other studies have shown that for a fixed mindset, if you tell them that the test measures how smart they are, they come away with this feeling of entitlement. When you have a growth mindset, you tell them that the test measures their ability to learn and to grow. So when they score well on the test, their ability to learn and grow and their incentive for learning and growing is enhanced. With other studies, they found that when somebody does poorly on a test, you can also induce a fixed or a growth mindset. To induce a fixed mindset, you tell them that you're really disappointed. You say, wow, we thought you were smarter than that. Or we tell them just, I guess this test wasn't an accurate measure of intelligence or brilliant because, if it had been, that you certainly would have scored higher. When you do that, you're encouraging a fixed mindset. To encourage a growth mindset, you say, hey, I'm sorry this didn't work out well for you, but I know that you're going to work hard and you'll do better the next time. See how easy that is? Really interested. And here's back to what I was saying earlier. When somebody is really, really talented, when somebody is really gifted at what they do, set lofty goals for them and make them work harder for even greater success. Don't let them rest on their laurels or get bored, and reward their efforts even more than their results. If a child in your family is really gifted at sports, you don't let them just be the superstar on the 12-year-old and under team. You tell them to suck it up and go for the 14 and under team. You put them in an environment where they need to work hard. When somebody is really gifted in school, challenge them with extra studies. Challenge them with extra projects. Challenge them to see if they can score even higher on the test. Challenge them with perhaps even going to college early. Doing things like that. Keep the challenge up in front of them. Keep them motivated. Keep them incentivized to focus on growing and learning and transforming, because that is the bottom line. The bottom line is that your mindset has a dramatic impact on your life. People who have a fixed mindset can self-destruct when all of a sudden they find out that their current abilities, their current talents no longer allow them to be the superstar. They can no longer be the big frog because the pond is so much larger than it was when they were younger. A growth mindset is critically important. In my case, what I believe is to living a very successful and happy life. When we encourage effort, when we reward progress, when we tell others how much we believe in their ability to learn and grow, they will improve over time. And oh, by the way, treat yourself that way too. Treat yourself well. When you have tried extra hard, when you have gone out and you have stepped out in courage, when you have stepped out in bravery, when you have tried out for that play, whenever you have auditioned for that role in a particular singing group or in a dance troupe, whenever you have gone out for that job and interviewed for that job, reward yourself for your courage, reward yourself for your ability to learn and grow, and then get right back after it and get into it. We always try to relate the subject matter of the day to one or more of the 9 areas of growth that we have defined in the Awakened CEO system. And this, of course, was all about mindset. It was about your business growth mindset, about your professional growth mindset, and your personal growth mindset. So to review, for the mindset, we really want you to believe in your ability to learn and grow in all of these areas of business. We want you to surround yourself with people who are eager to learn and grow and eager to help you learn and grow as well. Give yourself opportunities to learn and grow, and understand that growth mindset transcends boundaries. And oh, by the way, in the book, we just don't talk about sports, and we just don't talk about academics, and just don't talk about business. This also transcends into other areas of your life. So when you have a fixed mindset, say in a marriage, you might think that, my spouse, my partner is who they are and they can't learn and grow. I am who I am. I can't learn and grow. This is either going to work or it's not going to work because I'm not going to change. And hopefully you haven't heard that from yourself. Hopefully you haven't heard that from your partner. But how much better it is to work on the relationship, if the relationship is really in trouble, to get counseling and to get coaching, to read books together, to go to seminars together, to spend time together, to focus on each other's ability to learn and grow and transform, and to become, frankly, a better person, an easier person to get along with, a more loving, kind, happier person. Take that growth mindset and don't just make it pay off in business, but make it pay off in other areas of your life as well. In your relationships with your spouse or partners, in being a great parent, in being a great son or daughter. Make it pay off in other areas of your life too. That's been our agenda for today. We talked a little bit about the author. We talked about the 2 mindset. We gave examples, multiple examples in business and sports from those, and summed it all up for the bottom line. So here's your homework and exercise. As always, when I do a book report, I really encourage you to go get the book and read it, because I've really just scratched the surface. You've only seen the tip of the iceberg. I really encourage you to go get this. It's only going to cost you $10 or $12 on Kindle or on the paperback. Go get it, read it, understand it, embrace it so that you can have a better growth mindset. Encourage effort and reward progress in every area of your life. Tell others how much you believe in their ability to learn and grow, and always treat yourself that way too. One of the ways that you can do that is by taking on a huge challenge. Be courageous, be bold. If there's something in your life that you don't do very well, then be courageous and go for it. Take on that huge challenge, and as always, get yourself a mentor or a coach, somebody that can help you with your mindset, somebody that can help you make great choices, somebody that can help you, accomplish the things that you are capable of accomplishing. We do a lot of office hours presentations on the subject of mindset and belief systems in one way or the other. Here's several of them. Office hours 14 was on old dog, new tricks. Office hours 54 was on lessons from good to great. Office hours on 56 was on switch, how to change when change is hard. 65 was on the power of habit, and 78 was on psycho-cybernetics, and there were lots of other ones that we do, because here with the Awakened CEO system at the Hoyt Management Group, we are really, really fans of having a positive mental attitude about having a great growth mindset and an achievement mindset. Here in just a minute, we're going to go into open Q&A and coaching, where we invite comments or questions on the topic of the day, and then any other issues that you might want to talk about. Tell me what your biggest takeaways are and insights that you may have gained from this presentation, and tell us what you're going to focus on as a way of making public your commitment to focus on things and get better in your own life. Here at the Hoyt Management Group, we offer a variety of support services for our clients. We can teach you things that you can do for yourselves with our education, training, and coaching and advisory and mentoring programs. In some cases, we do things with you. We help you create business plans, financial models, product funnels, sales scripts, etc. And in some cases, we will do it for you. Especially with our COO and CFO services, you can throw things over the wall and trust that they will get done when it comes to the operational aspects of your business. Our support systems are focused on business growth and on personal growth, and with the Awakened CEO system for integrated growth on both personal growth, business growth, and professional growth. And speaking about the Awakened CEO system, we are offering or starting to offer monthly webinars on the Awakened CEO system to introduce you to that. We've done an office hours presentation on it many, many weeks ago, but in these webinars that we're going to do once a month, we're going to explain the Awakened CEO system in more detail, and we're going to give you the opportunity to discuss it live during the live coaching portions of those calls. And we're also getting ready to announce group coaching and masterminding groups that are coming up too soon, so watch your emails for announcements on those new product offerings. We're very excited about that. Our next office hours is going to be next Monday, September the 19th. I'm not sure what I'm going to talk about yet, so let me know what topics you would like for us to address on office hours by going to paulsurvey.com. And in the meantime, in between time now and we meet again, do your homework. Remember that as we get into the Q&A and the coaching, the best question or comment wins a prize. We're not sure what that prize is. I think it kind of depends on the person who wins it. But with that, Stephanie, I'm going to open it up and see if we have any questions or comments. I can see in the question dialog box that we do, so ask away.
Okay, got a comment here. A suggestion for helping support a growth mindset is to research what certifications are available in the particular line of business you're in. For example, there are industry certifications for real estate, management, various internet components, financial services, etc. You'll see some cynics scoff at those kind of certifications, but in my experience, they're a great way to boot up a good baseline of knowledge in an area of interest. And customers and employers are increasingly looking for them as a badge of competency.
That is awesome. Great comment. Thank you, Richard, because I can see who made the comment there. So, Richard, thank you very much. And you're absolutely right. I have to say that in some cases, people who really hang their hat on the certification as if it were an indication of their competency in a fixed mindset approach, then I have a tendency to say, that certification measures your commitment to your profession and measures your ability to pass a test and and you measure your commitment to have a little bit of a growth mindset. So where I really love that is when somebody gets a certification as an opportunity for them to indicate to others their commitment to their profession. Where I don't like it is when people have 15 or 20 initials after their name and they think that it's the initials that make them great instead of their growth mindset and the person that they have become that makes them great. Now, that being said, I've got a fair number of certifications too, and in fact, got another one just a couple of weeks ago. Just a couple of weeks ago, Stephanie and I went through our professional coaches certification training and process with a friend of ours, Barbara Wainwright, with Wainwright Global Institute, because we wanted to hone our skills as professional coaches. So now we are both certified professional coaches, and we got the plaque and we got the certificate that we can hang up on the wall. So your question, your comment is very timely. The reason we did that was to hone our own skills. We don't hang our hat on that as being, something that we should be awarded for or applauded for, but rather we put it out there as an indication to our commitment on professionalism. So thank you very, very much for that comment. I do appreciate that, and that's my encouragement to other people too. You're part of a growth mindset. When you challenge yourself, when you step out there, say, I can get that, that next series certification as a financial advisor, or I can get that next specialty certification when it comes to being a coach or a real estate professional, or I can become, certified for another board, by another board, for example, if I'm a medical professional. I can add to my professionalism, add to my competencies by going after a different degree programs and courses of study. And by the way, I do that as a matter of course without getting the certification. So there are programs out there like lynda.com and Coursera that allow you to go take really great programs, and you won't even have to pay for them unless you want the certificate. I've taken programs in many different areas. In positive psychology and emotional intelligence are the ones that come to mind. So we each have the opportunity to learn and grow either in silence, or we can suggest to the world that, and show the world that we have taken that next step through advertising the fact that we got a certificate. So thank you very much for that question. I appreciate that. Next question or comment, Steffi.
Mm-hmm. Well, just to reiterate what you said, I had an awesome time taking that course as well, because and we learned so much. You and I were able to really have some significant ahas in that class. So every time that you have those kind of growth opportunities, it's a chance for more ahas every day.
Awesome.
Questions. When you have a growth mindset, are you ever just satisfied with who you are?
That's a really good one. I mean, I think one could take a growth mindset to an extreme and say, that I'm never going to be good enough. I'm working hard. I'm getting better every day, but, I still don't believe in myself. I still don't have this sense of self-esteem, which could have come, or perhaps even should have come, with my accomplishments. And maybe we all know people in our lives like that they're never, ever satisfied. Even when they've accomplished greatness and you say, wow, that was really fantastic, then instead of saying, thank you, I appreciate that, it's nice to be noticed, they say things, oh, no, that's just, I got lucky, or, that's really nothing, or I can get much better, I can do a lot better. And you can see that they have such low self-esteem and such a poor sense of self-worth that they're never going to be satisfied, no matter how much they grow and learn and transform and the person they become over time. So it certainly is possible to take the growth mindset to an extreme, to the point to where, you're never satisfied. But one of my very favorite quotes, which I just got like last January, which I dearly love, from Sophia Bush, and I'm paraphrasing now, is that you're permitted to be both a masterpiece and a work in progress at the same time. You are permitted to be an absolute masterpiece, a master at what you do, and still have a growth mindset. You know, whether you're Aaron Rodgers, who's quarterback of the Green Bay Packers, or you're a pitcher in the National Baseball League, or wherever you are, even you're a CEO of IBM, for gosh sakes, or General Electric, for gosh sakes, you are permitted to say, I know what I know. I am who I am. I am strong. I am capable. I am bright. I am accomplished. I have a tremendous number of skills and abilities, and I'm still working on myself. I'm still working on myself. And believe me, that has really paid off in my own personal life. I am so happy with the person that I have become from practicing the practice of awakening for so many years, from working in business for 50 years, from working in personal growth for 50 years. I am delighted with the person that I have become and the skills and the knowledge and abilities that I have developed over time, but I am still working on myself. I am firmly convinced that 1 year from now, I'm going to be a better business consultant. I'm going to be a better coach. I'm going to be a better leader. I'm going to be a better human being. I'm going to enjoy life more. I'm going to be stronger, more loving, kinder, happier, more peaceful than I am today because I have a growth mindset and because I'm working on myself every single day. And that's my wish for you too, that you're able to say, I am a masterpiece and I'm still working on myself. I'm still a work in progress, and I am 100% confident that next week, next month, next year, I'm going to be a happier, wiser, stronger, more capable, and competent person than I am today. Thank you for letting me share. That was a great question. Next question, Stephanie.
Okay. I think I have a growth mindset in some areas of my life, but not in others. What is your experience with that?
Well, my experience in that is that, hey, me too. So I got, and I'll show you, because I still have a couple of blocks that I'm working on, and I'm going to tell you what those blocks are. I'm going to tell you how I'm working on them. So I've got areas in which I've thought that, yeah, man, I just can't do that. One of them for me is dancing. Now, some people who know me and have known me for a while know that I love to get on stage and I love to sing because that's, you know, like it's my hobby. I just love to sing songs in front of people. What you may have noticed is that when you see me sing that you rarely see me dance because I really am not very coordinated. And I used to say, by the way, that I can't dance. Well, I switched that a couple of years ago, and now I say, you know, I'm learning to dance. It's coming slowly, but I'm still learning to dance, and so I'm still working on that. I've shifted that negative, I can't do that mindset into a, I'm still willing to try. I'm still willing to look a little bit crazy, and you know, I'm still willing to give it, to go for it. Same thing, by the way, when it comes to cooking. My wife is such a marvelous, marvelous cook that I have for years resisted and say, wow, man, I could never cook like that. I don't think I need to try because that's, you know, it's, the kitchen is hers and she does great at that and she feels good about the meals that she creates, etc. But a couple of years ago, I decided that, you know, I think I can do this too. I can help her out at least. You know, I can like, she can tell me what to do and I can do it, much like, you know, a mother teaches her, you know, 6-year-old son or daughter how to cook. And so Sherry's been helping me with that. We made the most delicious coconut macaroons like a few months ago that I just dearly love them. They were just scrumptious, and separating out the egg whites and the egg yolks and whipping them together. It was such fun. Unfortunately, I can't do it very much because coconut macaroons have a lot of calories, and I love them so much that if you gave me a bowl of coconut macaroons, I would probably tell you to go away and come back when the bowl is empty. So anyway, you know, that's life. That's life as we realize that, hey, I've got a real positive attitude about growing here and a real positive attitude about growing there. But over here, you know, not so much. So what do I do about that? Do I just say, okay, I'm just going to leave that one. I'm not going to focus on that from now. That, by the way, might be the best decision for you. You know, one of the real paradoxes of life is that, hey, if it's not your genius, it's not your job. You might be able to learn a little bit, but we hire people who really are confident in those areas. And while we may have a little bit of a growth mindset that says, I know I can get better in that, we also might have a very practical mindset that says, I'm never going to be as good as this person is. I'm going to focus on my time and attention on leveraging my strengths, and as opposed to, you know, focusing all of my time and attention on trying to accomplish things that, you know, really aren't worth it in areas of my weakness. So there is a bit of a challenge there, but, you know, hey, me too. I've got a really super strong positive mindset in about 90%, 95% of the areas of my life, but it's not so strong when it comes to learning how to cook, and not so strong when it comes to learning how to dance. And by golly, I'm working on those. Next question.
Okay. What about those who have natural talent but work really hard? Isn't that the ideal?
Yeah, that is the ideal. And I think we gave a lot of examples about that. And, you know, in the world of sports, Michael Jordan, and my favorite one of my favorite basketball player of all time was Larry Bird. And the reason why I really love Larry Bird was he couldn't jump. I don't think the guy could jump 6 inches off the ground. He was 6'9", which meant, you know, he could get rebounds without having to jump very high. But the reason he was so good at what he did is because they said that he had a coal miner's attitude toward basketball. He got up in the morning and he worked out 5, 6 hours a day, many hours a day, longer than everybody else, to develop his skills and abilities. So yes, you can have great skills and abilities, and yes, you can have a great natural ability and hone that natural ability, become the top of your profession, become the best person that you can be through having a growth mindset in addition to having all those natural skills and abilities you have. That's the ideal, but if you find yourself not to have those natural skills and abilities, then rest assured that you can develop them over time. You can develop your intelligence, you can develop your emotional intelligence, you can develop your skills and abilities in all kinds of areas just through a positive attitude, through focus, through practice, through intentions. You can do tremendous, tremendous things. Time for one more question. We got 101. I think I'd take one more question, then we'll call it a day. What's our last question, Stephanie?
Okay. I need to hold my team accountable to their commitments and quotas, and I need to hold them accountable for results, not just progress. How does that fit in?
That is a really good question as well, because clearly we can't just reward a growth mindset in business, that we have to reward performance and results in addition to rewarding efforts. And I say, by the way, when it comes to rewarding people in business, that we focus on 3 things. Number 1 is effort. Number 2 is attitude/teamwork. And number 3 is actual results. In some jobs, we can reward, you know, the ability to work in a team and their effort even more than we can the results. In some job, it really is all about the results and the effort that they put into it and the attitude that they had towards it, you know, really doesn't weigh as nearly as strongly as the results. Good examples of that might be sales. You know, in sales, everybody has a quota, and I don't care how good of a person you are. I don't care how hard you tried. If you don't make the quota, you're gone. Here's another one, brain surgery. Brain surgery, you know, it doesn't make any difference how hard you tried. It doesn't make any difference whether or not you had a good attitude toward your ability to be a competent brain surgeon. If you can't do the job, you know, it's really the results that matter in cases like that. So you have to judge for yourself, you know, how much do we reward effort? How much do we reward a positive mindset? And how much do we hold people accountable for their actual results? And my encouragement to you is that you really rate an employee's or a contractor's performance on all 3, but in many, many cases, you have to hold them accountable for their actual results. And then I would encourage you to have a conversation that goes something like, you know, John, I really want to tell you how much I appreciate your positive attitude. I really want you to know how much I appreciate your effort that you put into this, and I see you constantly improving over time, and I don't want you to ever let go of that. However, your performance in this particular situation wasn't up to our standards, and we're going to have to let you go. Don't let this discourage you, because I know that you're going to be successful over time with that attitude that you've got, and through the effort that you put in, You almost made it this time, and I'm confident that you're going to make it the next time. So go get them, partner. I'll do whatever I can to help you out. That kind of conversation can really help people feel good about themselves, even though you need to hold them accountable for their actual results and their actual performance. Stephanie, I see one more question coming in through the chat window here from Michael. Do you see that question?
Yep, here it is.
Can you share that with us, please?
In growth mindset, there is a certain amount of humility. This is where one understands they have a gift. What does one do or say to empower a person who is humble?
I think there's two different types of humility there, Michael. One of them is a real positive sense of humility, which comes naturally with a growth mindset. And the other one is kind of a negative sense of humility that really might be more accurately described a lack of self-worth and a lack of self-esteem. So to me, you always use the word humility in a very positive manner, about being objective and about being humble about the opportunity that we have to learn and grow, and humble about knowing what our real strength is and what our real strength is not. It took me a long, long time to learn to be a humble person. I didn't learn to be a humble person until I was 57 years old. Until then, I really had at least some percentage of me, maybe 10, 20% of me, 30% of me was caught in that fixed mindset of, I am so freaking smart that, I'm going to conquer anything, as opposed to having a very humble mindset. But fortunately, blessedly, with the help of a few good, strong men, I gained that gift of humility over time. So humility can be a very, very positive trait. It can be an absolute virtue when you embrace humility and confidence at the same time. When you see the work and the opportunity to grow that lies in front of you, and yet you're able to feel very confident and very competent about the abilities and skills that you already have and that you've already developed. So that's, again, one of my favorite quotes, is that, with a tremendous positive mindset, we see that both confidence and humility are side by side with each other, that they are two sides of the same coin, that we see ourselves objectively, we see where we are objectively, and we believe in our capability to do magnificent things, and we also believe in our ability to learn and grow. I'm going to give the question of the day and the comment of the day to my friend Richard Pugh. Richard and I worked together, 17 years ago, 18 years, something like that, a long, long, long time ago, and have stayed in touch all these years. And I want to honor his participation in today's office hours session, and for throwing out the first great question and comment with regards to certifications with an award of some kind. I'm not sure what that is. Maybe I'll buy you a lunch. I could certainly do that. I would love to do that. Maybe we can meet somewhere in between San Francisco. I don't know where you live, but if you're on the call, I know you still are. You're the big winner. Let's have an opportunity to get together and see each other again face to face, because it's been a long time. And I want to encourage everybody else on the call to think about those questions and answers and those discussion topics, so that you can win a prize as well. We really do appreciate that. We love the interactive nature of these calls. In between now and the time that we meet again, focus on having a real positive growth mindset. Focus on seeing yourself for the masterpiece that you already are, and for your opportunity to learn and grow. And until we meet each other again, this is Paul Hoyt and Stephanie May wishing you a most marvelous and prosperous day. Bye-bye.